This YCN segment is brought to you by Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stell, Rob Taylor, and we move over to the off-season of Baseball Diamond and the Red Sox in the making moves or lack of making moves department. We all know what the Yankees have done. They've re-signed, or they've signed Stanton, traded Stanton. They look like they're getting better. They've re-signed CC Sabathia, which isn't a huge move, but it's enough. They're putting some pieces together. The Red Sox, on the other hand, I don't know if they have a plan. They got Mitch Moreland back, 2-year deal. That doesn't address their power because they had him last year and they had a lack of power. What do you think so far of this offseason?
Well, one little additional hyphen there. If it's not re-sign, it's resign. And so I think we've sort of resigned ourselves to Mitch Moreland at this point. And he had decent production last year, but I just didn't think he was a real difference maker. He wasn't a stud that we really need. I think Dombrowski's got work to do big time. We really need some middle of the order power. We'll talk pitching in a moment, but we're really, we're in the market right now for some heavy hitting.
Right, and that seems to be the biggest thing. And a lot of people were talking maybe getting J.D. Martinez to play outfield if they were going to trade Jackie Bradley Jr., or maybe Martinez has said he'd play DH. But now with Moreland at first, you've got Hanley still can play DH, so it doesn't look like they're in on the J.D. Martinez deal unless somebody's going to take Hanley off their hands.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing right now mostly, is that Hanley is the one that's most likely to be in a different uniform next year. I've heard Brock Holt thrown around as somebody that's not going to be with us, likely not to be with us. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I really think, in terms of if we're just going back in with what we had last year, we're going to sort of be in the same boat. So we need some new blood and some fresh talent.
And they could be even in a worse boat because the Yankees obviously have gotten that much better. And at this point, the bullpen played really well last year, and I don't know if they can play at the level they did last year. I know they're getting some guys back. Thornburg maybe back at the middle of the season, Carson Smith. But you mentioned the pitching staff. Is that pitching staff, if it's going Sale at the top, obviously, Price hopefully healthy. He looked like he was good in the stretch run at the postseason. Porcello back, and then it's Pomerantz and Rodriguez. Maybe Stephen Wright. I mean, there's talk that he'll be back and ready to go.
He's dealing with
some off the field issues too.
So which at last report may not be as big a deal as it originally seemed to be. Obviously, Rodriguez is coming back from injury, so he's a little bit of a question mark.
Seems like we say that every year.
I did a little research getting ready for the show, looking at the young guy down in the farm system that was activated on last year's playoff roster, a guy named Chandler Shepard, who's a young kid who they may be able to bring up and put into the rotation, down the rotation.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's actually converted from being a relief pitcher to being a starter. He's been playing in Mexico through the winter here, and word is really good on him. So I'm kind of a buyer on him. We'll see what happens. I'm not really worried about pitching. Pitching is one of those things that's got to kind of gel up. But I really think the hitting is, we're still missing Big Papi in the heart of that order. And to me, that was a difference maker. That was a difference between, Red Sox going deep in the playoffs and just being there at the beginning of the playoffs.
Yeah, and we saw it in the playoffs. They would put a couple guys on base and they wouldn't get that big hit. The Astros would come back and first two batters would get a base hit and a home run, and boom, it's 2-0 or something like that. So that pop and that offense really seems to be what they need. I mean, could it be they're taking a year off from spending money and maybe waiting for the bigger bats? Machado's going to be a free agent at the end of next year. Bryce Harper will be a free agent. And with the Yankees getting Stanton and they have Judge and Sanchez, maybe they're not going to be going after the free agents as much, so maybe the Red Sox might have a chance. Is that kind of like, hey, we'll tread some water here, we'll not rebuild, and then next year's the big fish?
My sense is it's a time of urgency right now for the Sox. They've got some guys that are really in the peak of their performing years, and I think also in the peak of their contracts. And so I don't think this is a team that we want to wait till next year or the year after. It's not a long-term prospect for the Sox. I think we need to make some big, bold moves and see if we can make it over that hurdle this year. Really, I think that's worth the...
So what's your confidence level or optimism going into 2018 as constructed right now, or if you think they'll do more moves? Because I'm thinking, like, 85 to 90 wins, and I'm not getting excited for a division title.
Yeah, me either. I think as it's constituted right now, without any big moves,
Right.
I think the Yankees sort of have put themselves in the place to probably win the division.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox will be maybe a wild card at this point, but we got to make something happen, I guess is the moral of the story.
And there's still plenty of time. Obviously, there's still some players out there that the Red Sox could get, but you just wonder how all the pieces will fit. They still have to take care of second base because Pedroia is going to be out after having surgery for the first couple of months. So they have a lot to do, and we'll see how the rest of the offseason develops. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some basketball. The Celtics kind of going 500 for the last couple weeks, and they have a big revenge spot tonight as they host the Miami Heat, who broke up their big winning streak earlier in the season. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.